is beating so fast.
That's a good thing.
This is fun. Okay, so I just wanted to tell you really quick, a fun thing is that my heart is going really fast. A couple weeks ago, we went to Universal, and when we walked in, we had tickets that we didn't have to go to the counter. And so we didn't have the little map of the park. And I said, we need a map. And we kept walking, and about a minute later, you saw a roller coaster go, and a map fell out of somebody's pocket. It was like, if it was always that simple. So, anyway.
That's exactly the way it is supposed to work. That's exactly the way.
Right.
By the end of the day, maps are falling out of your pocket.
Right. It was lovely. So, I have to read it so that I stay focused. Okay, I've been listening to your materials for almost 20 years, and my life and the way I view it has changed tremendously. I'm married to a man that I adore. He's strong-minded, and he inspires me to ask for more, know more, and become more. I totally understand that I'm in charge of me and creating my life as I do. 11 years ago, my husband went to prison with a sentence that would seem hopeless. But I know with every fiber in my being that we can be, do, or have whatever we want, literally. So I know that even this circumstance is changeable. I also know that once something has manifested, it's more difficult to change. I know that I cannot create for him. He has to do it. But I also know there's power in co-creation.
And influence. There is influence. Yes.
Influence. I want that. So my question is, we both want the same thing, his physical freedom. You, being all-knowing, know our energy stance. I don't care what we've done wrong so far, but what I am fully open to receive is how we can individually and together direct our energy in the strongest possible way to literally free him and both get what we want.
Well, there is so much that we want to give you here because, first of all, you give us an opportunity through this example, and your mate really has the opportunity to experience this fully, even more than you do, of discovering that freedom in its truest sense is alignment.
Right.
And bondage in its truest sense is resistance.
Right.
And anything of a physical nature, even bars and jails and confinement, doesn't even come close to the power of this resistance or allowance that takes place vibrationally. So we've been talking a lot here today in a stronger way than usual about finding a way to release the attachment, the fixation, the addiction to what is. And there's no one who wants to do that more than someone who's incarcerated. In other words, if you are in a situation where the confinement of your experience is like it is for him, then his only path to freedom right now is through the emotional route.
Right.
So he's more likely to do it than anybody else in this room.
Right.
It's like we often say, we just really enjoy visiting with groups of terminally ill people. A little annoying to the audience when they hear it, but the reason is because they're open to new ideas.
Right. Yes.
In other words, they're finally in a position where they're willing to let go of the stuff that hasn't been working for them because they have nothing to lose and everything to gain about going the emotional route. And so that's the thing that is really exhilarating about this. So your husband has an advantage in the sense that he is more likely to receive an understanding of this vortex and receive the relief of the vortex than almost anybody else, because he has more reason to reach for relief in a way that he can't orchestrate the way a lot of other people would attempt to orchestrate. You are following? It makes sense, doesn't it? You have an advantage over your husband in that since you are not experiencing as much of the discord of the incarceration, your expectation and hopefulness can get into alignment quickly, maybe quicker than his. You're following?
Mm-hmm.
So we could give you a long list of people who have written to Jerry and Esther over the years, who have had sentences that have been assigned to them, who have found their way into the vortex, who have found ways to make the best of it, who have come into alignment with who they are, who are actually satisfied where they are and looking forward to getting out, satisfied with where they are and eager for more. Imagine, satisfied with where they are, because they're satisfied with the emotional state that they're achieving. Mm-hmm. And when they change their emotional state, when they come into alignment with who they really are, it doesn't matter where you are. Law of attraction still works whether you are incarcerated or not. In other words, law of attraction is still working inside that facility. There are things more in harmony with what your husband wants and things less in harmony with what he wants. Mm-hmm. And if he is, or if anyone is telling you, oh no, where I am, there is nothing there that I want, then we're here to tell you they're not in the vortex. Because when you get into the vortex, you will find things wherever you are that are pleasing to you, you see. Law of attraction is a very powerful thing. So, talk to us a little bit about your communication with him, what your conversations are like. What kinds of things does he say to you? What kinds of things do you say to him?
That's big. I mean,
when you visit,
Mm-hmm.
Is it on the telephone? Is it?
Well, it's both, but it's mostly on the telephone.
So when you visit with him, when each time that you go to visit with him, what is the predominant thing that you wish to convey to him? What comes first? What do you say most often? What do you say with most forcefulness? What is it that you want him to hear from you? What do you usually say?
I want him to get right so he can be free.
So the reason that we ask that is because what we want it to be, because the tendency is, I can't wait for you to be out. I want you to get out. That's, of course, the predominant thing that you're feeling and the predominant thing that you're flowing. But what it does is it shines a big spotlight right on what is.
Right.
And then causes him to look right at what is. And then you go down walk down memory lane of everything that happened and why. And all of that is just a big jumble of stuff that doesn't have any movement in it toward what you want.
Right. I think I'm actually more comfortable where we are and feel more hopeful than he does.
Well,
he says that
we are certain about that. But this is the thing. Since we're visiting with you and you're going to be visiting with him, this is what we want to convey to you. Okay. And until you get it, you can't convey it to him. So it is our desire to convey it to you. Okay. When you visit with him, the predominant thing, because we've talked about this all day here today, you can't feel the absence of what you want so keenly and be moving toward it. In other words, it's just going to play out the way the sentence is written if that's the case, because nothing's changing vibrationally. In other words, when what you feel is predominantly utter and complete absence and agony over the absence of something that you want so much, there's no movement in that. Okay. So, and yet it feels like what you should say, because you don't want to say, hey honey, I'm having a fabulous time, wish you were here. You don't want to say, oh gosh, I forgot you were in there. I hardly ever even think about you anymore. And yet that's where we want you to be. We want you to be so full. We want you to be so full of where you're going that what is irrelevant. Okay. And as we said earlier, people thank us for our patience. We're not being patient about what's coming for the two of you, because it's already here as far as we are concerned. And that's what it has to be for you. So the words start out sort of specific and negative. I miss you. I hate it without you. I'm so longing for you. I miss you so much. I'm aching for you. So much injustice has taken place. This just isn't fair. I know who you really are. I know what a good person you are. I'll be here always. But it's pointed and poignant and specific and holding you right in the same energy. Right. So now you got to get more general. Okay. So, and you can't get specific too soon, any more than the ship can jump the 84 feet of water. So you're going to move into the locks just kind of gradually and move up. But what you're reaching for is that feeling of clarity and that feeling of calm that getting more general will bring you. So you say, we haven't figured it out, but we will. And I know it's going to get better whether you know it or not. And I'm feeling sure about this every day. And I know that sometimes you don't want to hear that from me because it seems like pie in the sky. But I just want to let you know that my relief is coming on stronger. I know that with the economic things that are taking place, that there's less reason for, now we're getting more specific, there's less reason to hold so many people that are unnecessarily being held just for the sake of making a point. Things are loosening up all over the place. I'm beginning to hear stories of sentences being reduced and people being released, and I can just feel it. I can feel it in my heart. I just know that things are getting better. I feel as close to you every day as if you were here, because in my heart of hearts, you are here. You're here in my mind. You're here in my dreams. I'm even having occasional dreams that, are you having occasional dreams yet?
I do.
I'm even having dreams. I'm even having dreams that you're free and that we're together. And so I know this is coming. Now, aren't you feeling a few shivers? Aren't you feeling the energy of that? Aren't you recognizing that you've moved from specific to general and now to more and more specific? Now, don't lay more on him than he is able to hear, because in the same way, if you get all frisky and all sure, and he's had a particularly bad day, and you try to affirm what you know, he'll have one of these law of attraction cards moments where he'll be tearing them up in little pieces and flushing them down the toilet. In other words, it's really, really annoying to hear somebody feeling good when you don't. So now what's going to happen is you're going to find really good timing. You're going to begin to align with his alignment, because what you want, and this is what we want to convey to you more than anything, what we want for you more than his freedom from incarceration is you in the vortex. What we want for him more than his freedom from incarceration is him in the vortex. Because we know that when you're in the vortex, that life is all right. Life is good now. You can do something about that now. You can set yourself free today. You can set yourself free from his incarceration today. He can set himself vibrationally free from the incarceration today or tomorrow or the next day. And that's what your first and foremost work is about. We have to tell you, it would be easier to talk to everybody in this room if you were all in jail. It would be. It would be. It would be, because you would be more willing to do the only work you can do under those conditions, you see. And so start finding the sweetness of it. Start feeling the edge lift up off of you. Start noticing the positive aspects that are erupting. Start feeling the power of your co-creation. Start recognizing what the two of you have collaboratively put into your vortex as a result of this experience. In other words, your relationship is bigger and stronger. Both of you are more. If you study the histories of the heroes and the magnificent creators of all time, you will find a huge part of them were incarcerated or bound by what seemed to be against their will, only to discover in their own personal experience that nothing can bind them, you see. And when you get that nothing can bind you, because it is your vibration, it is your alignment, now you're off and running. And we're not just giving this to you because we think it is the only way that you're going to feel happy. We are giving this to you because it is the path to his being released early. But we don't want you to do it for that reason, because then you start taking score of that, which makes you lose your connection to your vortex, which then slows the whole thing down. You're following?
I am.
Have fun with this. Can you hear us? Can you hear the sincerity with which we say this? Have fun with this. Have fun with this. Imagine asking someone to have fun under these conditions. We're saying, have fun with this. Have fun with this. And oh, what a book you will write one day. Good time for a segment of refreshment.